Hey everyone, and welcome back to BMX News, a weekly BMX news show where I talk about everything that happened in the previous week within the world of BMX that I think you guys might care about. That being said, directly from the title and thumbnail of the video this week, let's get right on into the clickbait. First up, we've got a video on Snakebite BMX's YouTube channel with Shad Johnson at his new shop location for Goods BMX, talking about some of his massive old school BMX collection. There are more parts and frames and different things that are affiliated with more legends in BMX than I can even remember to begin to list for you guys, but the one that stood out the most to me was Vic Murphy's actual frame from the one-footed tabletop photo that everyone knows about. I'm putting it on screen right now. This is like the consensus best BMX photo of all time. He actually has that frame from the actual photo, the one he was riding, and he built it up to match the exact bike that Vic Murphy was riding with parts that were exactly the same as what were in the photo. He's got so many other frames that he name dropped in here. He's got Bruce Chrisman's famous bar to one-handed Fufanu from X Games or wherever he did that. He's got the frame from that as well. It's kind of crazy when you look at this video and just see how much stuff, and then think about how much of that he's actually talking about in here. This could be an entire series of videos for months, years on end, just talking about all of the different history that he's got. And I think it's really cool that he does this so that it doesn't just end up somewhere where the only people who are ever going to see it again are people who actually visit wherever it's at or are friends with the person who has it. It's cool that there's an outlet like Snakebite BMX where he can talk about these things and share the history with everyone else, and we can all kind of enjoy it. He also mentions in here that he has hopes of meeting up with Vic Murphy with his bike and letting him take it for a few rips after everything in the world kind of chills out. How cool would it be if they actually went to the one-footed tabletop spot, if it still exists? I'm pretty sure it does. And then Vic Murphy replicates that one-footed tabletop at the exact spot on an exact copy of the bike with the exact frame from the photo. I think that would be really, really cool. And if they felt like recreating the photo, if they could, that would also be cool. Totally understandable why they might not want to do that. But just the idea of going to that spot and doing that trick on the bike that it was done with previously is a really cool one. I'm sure you guys would agree, but you can let me know that in the comments down below. And the next highlight that we have this week is the news that Tom Villarreal is now riding for Primo, and it came with a quick Instagram clip of a massive hop T-bog over a rail, over a gap, into a bank that looks like you'd have absolutely no idea what's underneath of it because of the foliage that's on that bank. And you just kind of got to see it to understand it. This gives you a little bit of an idea, but you need to see how incredibly insane this is. And usually video doesn't do things justice very well, so it's very possible that this was even crazier in person. I can't imagine being there to see him do this. It's just nuts. And that brings us into the videos from this week. First up, we've got Jacob Cable's ATX vacation video from Kink, shot by Daryl Taco. And with this one, it's Jacob Cable, so you know that nose manuals, backwards manuals, and all kinds of crazy grinds are going down in here. Just the opening clip is an incredibly long nose manual, and then he drops down in the same line, switches his feet, goes up into a nose manual, lands in a manual, hops up onto a ledge, and then manual 180s off of it. I don't know which one was regular footed or which one was switch footed. I didn't pay attention to that. But the fact that he did super long nose manuals, both regular and switch footed, in a line with a manual 180, that's all I need to tell you. Go watch the video if you haven't yet. After that, we've got one with Mike Vitito called All Grown Up from Daily Grind BMX. This one has a really good vibe, and the riding in it is super solid. Grind and nose manual combos, big burly stuff as well. It's got everything in here, and the song that goes in there kind of just makes for a feel-good street riding video, which is not something that we see every single day. It was just genuinely enjoyable to watch on a different level than what we normally see, because the way the music went with the riding and the B-roll and all of that, it was a feel-good video. And if you want to watch one from someone that doesn't get a ton of coverage in BMX, and this video only has like 600 views, this is definitely one that you're going to want to check out. After that, we've got a couple videos from USL BMX. First up, we've got a BMX dice video with Andy Garcia at Cherry Park in Long Beach. Andy Garcia, if you guys don't know, and Kurt Rowell, when you're watching this, you're gonna love it. Andy Garcia might be one of the best, if not the best, flat ledge technical BMX riders on this planet. I'm assuming most of what was in this video was first try, and it is all so just technically difficult and he makes it look easy. If you go out there and try one of the combinations that he's doing in here, you'll understand how difficult it was. And then when you think about how many different ones he did in this video and all in one session, it's impressive. That's a good word for it. Impressive is what this video is. Then we've got one from USL called The Future of BMX Street, where they go and hang out with some dudes that you may have heard of some of them, but I'm sure that there's a couple in here that you haven't heard of, and these kids all shred. It looks like they're having a good time. They're riding the streets, they're riding the full factory ramp setup, and just look like they were having a blast. Then we've got a video with Greg Illingworth riding a shopping trolley. And for those of us in the US, or if you haven't figured it out yet, a shopping trolley means a shopping cart. He was riding it at the skate park, and the description on the video says he was kind of bummed to get to the skate park and see that it was kind of a mess, but after some cleanup, he used part of the mess that he found, including the shopping cart, to make this video, and there's a couple standout tricks in here. He does out of a quarter pipe a fast plant on this shopping cart to back in, and then the last clip in here is a boneless foot plant, which if you don't know, that's a can foot plant on this shopping cart to back into whatever ramp it is. You can't really see in the video. Those are both two extremely difficult tricks, let alone doing them on something that was just placed there and is definitely not stable, which you can see from the video. So this one's really cool as well. Then we've got one with Colton Knudsen from Seattle BMX and Fit Bike Co., followed by the entire Fox Expendable Youth 3 video from 2002. I'm sure there's a bunch of you who are stoked upon hearing that and are gonna go watch it because you remember when this video came out in 2002. But for those of you who don't remember that or weren't around or are new to BMX since then, let me just read you some of the rider list. Alan Cook, Ruben Alcantara, Paul Osika, Dave Mira, Colin Winkleman, Brian Foster, Taj Mihelich, Fuzzy Hall, Colin McKay, TJ Lavin, Nate Wessel, Punjab, Mike Laird, Chad Kagi, Kevin Porter, Chris Doyle, Sean Elf Walters, Josh Harrington, and Bruce Krisman. Most of those were read in a row. That is a legendary lineup, and there's a reason why those guys are legends today. So if you don't know this video and you've never seen it before, go and check it out and let me know your thoughts on it in the description down below. And if you do remember this video from the past, leave your memories of it before you go and watch it down in the comments below. And that brings us to some product related things this week. We've got two different product promo videos. The first is for the S&M Slide Pipe V2, and it's Kareem Williams on the S&M Shopping Network promoting the slide pipe, and it's a really good video. It kind of reminds me of the skit type stuff people used to do in the past. It's well done on both his part and I'm assuming Charlie's part in editing, as well as Charlie's part in riding in here. So check that one out, if not just for the entertainment value that it brings. And then we've got a little bit more of a traditional promo video from Haro for their baseline frame, with Alex Liebrock riding the frame around a skate park, showing all of the different dimensions on screen while Alex shreds the bike. Then we can go to some interview stuff from this week. We've got a couple different things to talk about here. First, we've got a video bike check with Aaron Ross. And I would just like to know, maybe somebody's counted it up in the past or somebody's bored and will count it up. How many video bike checks has Aaron Ross done in the history of his riding in BMX? I feel like it's a lot, but I don't know. I haven't counted. After that, we've got a bike check with Logan Penberg from We the People. This is also a video bike check going over his bike. So there's a pretty big difference there. Somebody who's up and coming as an AM in BMX. And then we've got Aaron Ross, who's been in BMX forever. Then we've got an Unclicked podcast, this time with Tom Dugan. I genuinely enjoyed this one. I know I say that about every single one, but Tom Dugan definitely has a personality in BMX. There's a personality that is Tom Dugan. It's kind of a character. You've seen it online. You know what I'm talking about. This Unclicked podcast is like the real Tom Dugan. He's being real. He's not being this character. He's just talking as himself. And there's a lot of different subjects that he talks about in here, and he's very real about all of it. It made me just genuinely enjoy this one. I think a lot of people will enjoy it as well. And then we got a couple different things up on Vital BMX. The first is a short stories video interview with Daniel Dares, Mare Rantis, and Justin Dowell, telling each an individual short story. The video is only like 3 minutes something seconds long. Justin Dowell definitely takes the cake for the most peculiar reason that his flight from Europe to the US got canceled. I'm not going to spoil it for you. You're just going to have to watch it to see, but it's pretty funny and he tells the story in a funny way. Then we've got an interview with Tony D and Shane Fernandez of USA BMX Freestyle on the USA BMX Freestyle Amateur Contest Series. You guys might remember I did a live stream talking about and introducing this last year with Shane Fernandez. Well, now Vital BMX has this interview up with a couple really good questions with both Tony D and Shane. These guys are very knowledgeable. They're very passionate about what they're doing. So these are great people to ask these questions to. So first, they're talking about USA BMX. Then there's a question about asking if it's possible to replicate what USA BMX has done with racing in park riding. Then they're asking about Woodward. They're also asking about what this series is for, as well as how the classes are broken down, as well as questions about the contests and locations and vibe of the contests and how they anticipate that, as well as scores and how they're kept and accumulated throughout the season, and what their main goal of the whole series is, as well as how people can get involved with this contest and how parents can get their children involved with it too, before some final thoughts from both of them. This contest series is really great to see in BMX. It focuses on the amateurs, and if you want to learn more about it, this is definitely a great place to read and learn pretty much everything you could want to know about this contest series. On that note, let me know your guys' thoughts on the mid-school BMX collection of Shad Johnson, if you'd be interested in if they made more of those, as well as if they took Vic Murphy with that bike to the spot with the one-footed tabletop, or thoughts on anything else that I talked about in today's news video. I want to thank you guys for being here and watching, and hopefully while you're down there leaving a comment, if you haven't yet or you're new here, you'll hit the subscribe button so that we can see you tomorrow for another video. See ya.